All right, guys, today we're going to take a look at the PS5 Pro. Hopefully it's worth buying. But I have a Switch, I have a PC, I don't have an Xbox.
Reaching into the hundreds.
I feel like this makes sense for me to get a PlayStation at some point. All right, so we know what this is going to be. I'm just going to fast forward through this because we know what the PlayStation 5 is actually going to be offering.
That leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with. Graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players.
Nope. Never a difficult choice.
Emphasize the visuals, typically through higher...
Hot take. If you're playing a story game, 30 frames per second is fine. If you are playing a game that is action-oriented, anything below 30 frames per second is not good enough for me. Therefore, if you are playing a game that's action-oriented that caps at 30 frames per second, you are only going to go lower at frame dips. You'll probably average between 27 and 28. That's unacceptable for me. I would prefer to have performance. Unless I'm in a game like The Last of Us or like Hellblade 2. There should always be an option.
But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. 5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second.
That should be 1440 though, right?
Here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5.
Yeah.
For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout.
Look at the tree waving.
Including the trees and procedural cars. All some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the Big 3 showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Damn, that does look pretty good. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second.
Might be a hot take, but Forza will always look better. I don't know why.
Wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows.
Nah, man, that looks really good compared to what it looked like on my PC even.
The technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
Now wrap it up by giving me a price and date. Yo, let me get a clear controller too, by the way, bruh.
Don't let me hang.
Bring back clear electronics like the Game Boy, clear PlayStation 2 controllers. Yeah, this looks great though. This looks like it would be like on a 4K high-end PC.
It'll be worth it.
Genuinely, really nice. But here's the thing though, like if you spent $600 to $500 ish on a PlayStation 5, and then you bought this as well, you should have just bought a PC. PlayStation's been porting their games into PC recently. You'll have way more accessibility. And a lot of people don't think about this, but like you'll also have a PC. Like that can do PC things. You can store your photos there. You can do online tasks, do your homework, do everything on your computer, which everybody has a household computer too. So having a PC as a gaming system almost works as like a dual threat, right? Like everybody's like, oh, well, you're a $2,000 gaming PC, and then like lugs a MacBook Pro around, and then comes home to a PlayStation 5, and then buys a PlayStation 5 Pro. Oh, there we go. All right, available November 7th for $700. $700. Wow, guys, that is... I'm not going to hold you. For a mid-gen refresh, that is pricey. So this is my opinion on the PlayStation 5 Pro. If you already have a PlayStation 5 ready and you can't sell it for a really, really reasonable price, like I would just say hold out until the PlayStation 6 comes out. I would probably look at what the future PlayStation 5 games are coming out right now, because you're probably not going to replay all of these games that you've already played on the original PS5 just because you gained this much graphical fidelity and some more frames. I think what we should be doing is looking at what the future of PlayStation 5 has, and will you enjoy the games that much better for $700 extra with a few more frames and a little bit of extra graphical enhancements, especially if you're going to be playing like bigger games. And like one big game that I know everybody's looking forward to is Grand Theft Auto 6, but I think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be just like GTA 5, where it grows into the new hardware of future consoles. Like, yeah, you might have to bite it a little bit with PlayStation 5 regular performance, but then once the PlayStation 6 comes out, that $700 is probably way more justified in terms of like a hardware advancement. And then you're going to be able to play GTA 6 at a noticeable difference. But if you're just buying this just to jump on it because it's got a little bit of a graphical jump and it's got more frames per second, a little bit more powerful, I would say hold off. That's my opinion though. I'm probably going to... I don't own a PlayStation 5, so this is a perfect time for me to look at discounted PlayStation 5s and also a PlayStation 5 Pro potentially. That's just my 2 cents. You guys let me know what you guys think inside the comments. Obviously, I'm open to discussion. It's not something that I think is just like, it's one opinion and all. So let me know what you guys think. Will you be buying this? Do you think it's worth it? Did this impress you? Is the price too high? I don't usually do a lot of long form content, but for big announcements like this, I always like to weigh in. So let me know what you guys think.